And as they start to approach the tunnel, we've got a little bit of time here to talk to another member of the Arizona State University Sun Devil Marching Band staff. And as I said before, we get very lucky. People come back for a DMA or a PhD, and they come with their rich experience and make us a better band. And this is also the case with somebody else. Come on in here. Emmett O'Leary is here. And Emmett, you've had an amazing run here in your life. Tell everybody where you grew up, and welcome here, by the way. It's awesome to see you. You can hold this right here.
Sure.
This is your window to the world.
All right.
Emmett, where'd you grow up?
Yeah, I'm originally from Bozeman, Montana. So I went to high school and middle school there, and my family kind of lived all over the country, and then had the advantage of being in just a wonderful high school band program there with a really talented band director who was one of the real big influences on my life. And then from there I went to the University of Idaho, and very, very soon on in my musical career I knew I wanted to be involved with the band field for life because of the impact it had on me, and seeing if I could kind of pay that forward. And I was lucky to be very blessed to have more great teachers in my life. So I had Bob Spevacek, who lives down here in the valley now. He was a great teacher of mine. And then from there I went out and taught high school for a little while, had a great experience as a high school band director. And then I really got the bug for college marching band, and I got to go to Washington State and work with the Cougar Marching Band there, which was a blast. And then I spent 7 years at the University of Notre Dame as an assistant band director there, and got to be a part of one of the biggest stages in college football, which was such a cool experience, and just such a thrill to get to see kids have the opportunity to go out in front of 80,000 people every Saturday and show what they do, and even more so to see 80,000 people that really appreciate and get excited about what a band can bring to the environment they're in. So
that's awesome. Congratulations on all these places where you've been. So let's back up to the University of Idaho, and we know that Robert Spevacek retired as director of bands there, and he taught so many things at Idaho, and then he came down here. Is that one of the reasons that you headed in this direction, because you knew him?
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about the University of Idaho is it's a rural campus. So in Moscow, it's not like you can go teach in the greater Moscow metropolitan area if that's your
that's right.
If that's your influence. So we all kind of had to find out where we wanted to go. So when Spev moved down here, it kind of became the land of milk and honey for us.
Right.
That we saw this huge metropolitan area, and since then you'll see several Idaho graduates with bands out here today.
They're coming up, actually.
Yeah,
they're in the next hours. Yeah, you're right about that. And
Yeah.
so this is the land of milk and honey. And when the great influential teacher like Bob Spevacek does that, they start heading out. And then your high school teaching included Arizona.
Yeah.
Right. So you were Lake Havasu.
Lake Havasu High School, and then later Meridian High School, which is a suburb of Boise. So it was two very different communities and two really different experiences. And Lake Havasu is kind of a big little city in rural Arizona, and it has kind of that unique vibe of being kind of a resort town, kind of a snowbird town, and then kind of also a rural town. So it's kind of out there, but you also have a lot going on in it, so which is kind of fun. And then up in Meridian, it was just really neat to be a part of a very vibrant community in the Boise area, and I think Boise is just one of the best kept secrets in the nation, because what an awesome place to live and what a great place to have a band.
Yeah. So everybody knows how dynamic that area has become. Who's a sports fan?
Yeah.
So you're back. You've
Right.
left Notre Dame to come back to do your final degree, your terminal degree.
Yeah.
And tell us what you're studying here at Arizona State.
I'm in the PhD in music education program, which is, if you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I probably would have said if I was ever going to do a doctorate, it probably would have either been in conducting or euphonium.
Well, first of all, you know that Emmett plays euphonium and tuba, and he's a really great low brass musician. And it's like the best part about that is when any low brass musician goes to get a PhD, I give it up to them. It's like, finally, we got a PhD. It's like
Nice.
the rarest
Right.
of populations, PhD tuba player, euphonium players. So that's awesome that you're back to do that and work with the faculty here. And you didn't think that we were going to let you get away with not working with the marching band. The minute we found out you were here, we subpoenaed you.
And I was so thrilled to be part of it, because when I left Notre Dame to come down here, the main reason obviously the main reason I came back to Arizona State was that I really valued the music ed program and what I could get out of that. But the other things that set it apart is that I had hoped for the ability to be a part of a great marching band staff, to work in one of the best tuba communities in the nation, and to have a chance to work with you, and have a chance to work with Jim Hudson, and chance to work hopefully with Gary Hill some, and really have a breadth of experience that you can't necessarily replicate in a lot of areas. And I didn't want to spend my time doing a PhD in music ed just reading and writing. I wanted to develop musically, and I wanted to develop my skills as a band director and an educator while I'm doing it, and then hopefully while I'm doing that, develop the research abilities and the writing abilities to make documents that will hopefully have an impact on what we're doing in the field.
Right. There's a famous quote by Charlie Parker, the great alto saxophone jazz artist of all time, probably, who he said, if you don't live it, it won't come out your horn. And so the more you broadly experience our field, you're able to become a pinpoint expert at anything you choose. But I appreciate very much your broad base that you sit upon here as an educator. You and I work together on the low brass section. You have great field experience. It's just awesome. It says, who are the people that are assisting you on the ASU FAT? Well, there's this guy that used to be the Notre Dame band director, and there's it's like you're a great name to drop, But we go back to some roots. I have a connection to Idaho, and that Bob Spevacek's one of the great low brass teachers. And so I was in the Empire Brass for 21 years, but in our very first year, our very first nationwide trip was to the Northwest. And the second day we ever did anything on tour was for Robert Spevacek at University of Idaho.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's and that started an almost annual visit and watching him run this beautiful department. So yes, you are a product of another great teacher of so many things. So you can't imagine life without playing, without writing about it, without listening to it, without leading it, without performing it. It's like yours is a very cross-trained world. But we're very fortunate to have you here.
Well, thanks. It's amazing to be here. It's been something I kept on thinking about, trying to get back to do another degree. I was a student here for a summer 10 years ago. Once, and then summer is not the great time to come here, but the coming back, it's been everything I'd hoped for and more, and then the quality of the experiences and getting to see such amazing teaching modeled here, and then it's both in my music ed classes, seeing master teachers teaching teachers, and then going into tuba euphonium warm up and seeing what's it like to develop these people that are going to go out and compete at the highest levels of the low brass performance world, and then coming here and what's it like to run a really high quality, high performing marching band that also contributes to the athletic environment and to the community environment of a university. So cool.
That's James Hudson in a nutshell. His thing is embeddedness. We're part of this community. And I know that at Notre Dame you experienced that type of thing. You're a valuable colleague. But as the same with Brandon Hotalen, who we talked to before, he's a fine horn player, you're a fine euphonium player. So we're sitting here, the last rehearsal before band day, and we have an audience of high school bands that are visiting, and everything's about to go off, and you walk by me on the field and you say, hey, I got a new euphonium mouthpiece.
Right. Yeah.
That's the environment that I love to be
in,
that we're excited about things. And that when the euphonium moves forward, you'll find yourself hearing better, or you'll find yourself teaching better, and it's because of something you thought of when you practiced. So that we're all drinking as much of this as possible in, so that it comes back out as leadership later or as research later. We just never know. It's a really an awesome thing to have a band as big as we do and have it be as successful as it is right now musically and visually. We're working really hard to make this a great organization, and then to luck into having you decide to do this degree now. Brandon has come back for a degree, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. We got this structure set up where we could really use the help, and look at the quality of help that we're getting. So
well, and that's one of the really cool things has been that and sometimes if you're on a marching band staff, you don't necessarily feel like you can internalize your work onto the field unless you're the the person in the tower, and then that's definitely not the case here, because even though I feel like my my work is very appropriately in the low brass area, and I can take a lot of pride in what the trombones do, and I also can take a lot of ownership of what they do when things aren't going as right. But it's through being able to kind of work on the playing, and I took the better part of what I would call like 10 years more or less off from playing, and not necessarily intentionally, but just you get a gig where the horn's not that big a part of it, and you do other parts.
It tells you what you're going to do sometimes.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I find myself in the practice room, like I have to teach myself what's it like to use air efficiently again, or what's it, seeing how, like I've been a follower of the stuff you've written, and the breathing gym, but you go from the book to seeing it modeled, and then you go from from playing out of the brass gym book, and you go, okay, yeah, there's a way to do all these things that definitely will build musicianship, and then there's the way that you can do it with a group of 20 other people in the morning that makes it even more powerful and more effective. And then going through that and watching the students in marching band rehearsal and seeing like, wow, what I went through in tuba warm up this morning, I bet this freshman trombone player is going through the same thing right now. What's going on rehearsal wise that can break down that barrier for him?
Got it.
And I think that's kind of a cognitive process you're not necessarily going to think about unless you're plugging into all the parts of your musicianship a little bit. So.
Right on. I'd like to take a minute. This is Emmett O'Leary, and we go way back, but you're here now helping with our Sun Devil Marching Band. We want to invite you to stick with us during the day. This is the 63rd edition of the Arizona State University Band Day, and it's the Sun Devil Marching Band is the finale of this show. It's on at 8:21 tonight. Pacific time. That's the grand finale. Preceding that would be Mission Viejo, California, and before that, Rancho Verde, California, will be performing, and our Division 5A bands start a good hour and 20 minutes before that. So spend the rest of the day with us. We do give breaks. We have potty breaks and refrigerator breaks. We build them into our webcast, so you don't have to miss a thing. Emmett, I can't thank you enough. I think the first time I met you was at University of Oklahoma summer school with Brian Bowman and myself doing a wonderful low brass seminar. And then, so you go from playing one instrument to running a whole lot of other instruments, in your life. And this is thanks for coming on today, and good luck with this PhD and being one of those few PhDs that play the tuba. I'm looking and the euphonium. I appreciate that very much. And we're looking forward to the show tonight and the results of some of your work. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.